The following episode of the Comics and Crypto podcast is for informational purposes only, and anything expressed by the hosts or their guests is solely their opinion. This podcast does not constitute financial advice, and anyone wishing to invest should seek their own independent financial or professional help. Have fun and enjoy the show.
Hi, I'm Sean O'Hare, and I know comics.
Hi, I'm Spencer Vogel, and I know crypto.
Hi, I'm Kevin Lee Loader, and I don't know shit. This is the Comics and Crypto podcast.
Comics and crypto, crypto and comics, collectors world in a digital age. Comics and crypto, crypto and comics is where the next billionaires will be made. It's comics and crypto.
What is up, everybody? Thanks so much for joining today. We're back with another episode with special guest, Kelly McClain, Senior Consignment Manager with HAKE'S Auctions, and of course, Up Crypto. What's up, Jason?
What's up, everybody?
Hey, guys.
Today, we're going to break down Jason's area of expertise, the top video games that are currently on auction at HAKE'S Auctions.
Yeah, this is exciting. Massive video game section we have up for auction right now. Bidding ends November 16th. There's over 200 graded video games, VGA graded video games, and some WADA in there as well. We got Jason on board with the HAKE'S team with his extreme knowledge, going back 25 years of collecting video games and really understand that world. We now put our trust into him. He's helped me curate this entire section, and he and I just went to New York Comic Con to talk more video games, and now we're going to bring that talk to you here now.
Coming at number 11, N64 Goldeneye VGA 85. Oh boy.
Cool thing about GoldenEye is that everybody knows FPS, everybody's favorite. People love that. People got started in that because of that game. I mean, just look at all of the FPS games that are out there from a competitive standpoint. Very nostalgic. Definitely a must-have in your collection. Super nice condition.
High grade estimates 10 to 20,000. This game has recently hit six figures in, I would say, a little higher grade, maybe even similar grade, depending on how you look at the grade comparison. But this I think is a conservative estimate and could definitely surpass that.
Coming at number 10, Nintendo NES Super Mario Bros. 2 VGA 85 Plus, Near Mint Plus.
So 85 plus, Jason, what does that get us into?
Getting a gold game that is from that era, gold graded game from that era is ultra tough. You have to think these games were really expensive when they first came out. Games back in the day were released at $59.99 up to $129.99. Some of the games were very expensive, and these Super Mario 2 was a $59 or $69.99 price tag. These games were open, played with early Mario games, so it's definitely a must-have. It's a really nice piece.
Coming at number 9, Nintendo DS Pokemon Soulsilver version VGA 85.
That one came through one of the other consigners, and Kelly texted it to me, and I was like, "What? How do they have this?" So that's just, all the Pokemon stuff does extremely well. Even the very modern Pokemon stuff does awesome. But this is it is ridiculously rare to get a sealed version of this. It was a limited exclusive release. You know, these were released incredibly limited. People wanted to take the figure out. You know, this game was another one that people were playing this. So it is incredibly rare, great grade, and this is a great long-term piece to have in your.
And the estimate for this one is between 5,000 to 10,000.
Not as old as the others, but the rarity limited to Walmart. And then again, buy it and don't open it. Not many did.
Coming at number 8, NES Final Fantasy VGA 85. Is this the first Final Fantasy game ever produced?
It is the first American release. So originally it was released for the Famicom, which is a Japanese system. But this one is near and dear to my heart because when I was a kid, I saved up all my money and my parents took me to Walmart or Target or whatever the store was. And they were like, hey, you get to pick out whatever game you want to. And I just, in my mind, I remember the wall of Nintendo games. So anybody who lived in that time frame, if you can just picture that in your mind, just all these Nintendo games. And out of all of them, for some reason, this little black box that said Final Fantasy was calling to me, and that's the one I purchased. Since this one got a really nice grade, Final Fantasy. I wish I had time to tell the whole story, but basically Final Fantasy propped up a company that was gonna that was about to perish. And literally, they called it Final Fantasy because they were like, hey, this is our final game, so we're just going to call it Final Fantasy, and here you go. And boom, it propped up the company.
That's an incredible story.
And the estimate on this one, I think you didn't say it already. It's 5 to 10,000 for a VGA 85.
Coming at number 7, Super Mario RPG VGA 85 grade.
Nintendo games have done extremely well. You know, I talk to folks all the time that are looking to notice that Nintendo does really, really well. Big brand, very popular brand. People love Nintendo. And so Nintendo is a good, just in general, Nintendo is a good brand to collect.
And we're looking at a $10,000 to $20,000 estimate for this one as well. Coming at number 6, N64 Zelda VGA 85 plus.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
baby, go.
yeah, that is a very good high grade game. If you kind of put the Nintendo characters, you know, maybe Mario has a slight edge, but I think Zelda is not far behind. Maybe Mario's 1A, Zelda's 1B. I love the very original Zelda, the first one released by NES, but that game put, I think, Zelda on the map.
And the estimate for this Zelda game is $5,000 to $10,000. Coming at number 5, Sega Genesis Sonic 2 VGA 85 plus. Another gold seal.
Why is this one so hard to get in a gold 85 plus grade?
So the challenge with the clamshell cases, the way that the clamshells were created, there's a lot of opportunity for there to be flaws. So because they were sealed so tightly, a lot of the actual seam would start to break. At the very top where the hang tags were, you see a lot of the hang tags popping out, breaking. So like if you have a modern PS4 game or a modern square box game, there's not really any spots where you can puncture it easily. And on the clamshell game, along the entire edge of it, you can, there's literally space between the seal and where the game starts. There's like a ½ inch of space. And so you could puncture that. To get a game that is in this condition, sealed from that era in a clamshell format is really tough. And then it's Sonic.
And we didn't get too much in the first appearances, but this is the first appearance of Tails, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the first time you get Tails. Sonic and Tails then continue throughout all of the rest of the Sonic games.
And the estimate for this game is $2,000 to $5,000, which seems like pretty good value considering the IP and the grade.
Yes, we'll see where this one goes. Yeah, this one has some room.
Coming at number 4, Game Boy Advance Pokemon Emerald version VGA 85 plus. Just keep dropping that gold.
Pokemon is always going to be highly sought after. It's going to continue to be highly sought after. At New York Comic Con, I actually moved the Pokemon to the front because so many people were so fascinated and drawn in by the Pokemon pieces. Like you both said earlier, popularity is really important when it comes to collectability.
What is more popular than Pokemon? I mean, some would argue Mario, some would argue Pokemon. I mean, what's more popular? There's like different waves of cultural phenomenon. Star Wars, Mario, and Pokemon definitely is one of the, from 1999 on, has been incredible. Just incredible.
There's definitely graphs out there that show the top media franchises like of all time, and Pokemon is clear number 1 over Disney, over Nintendo and Mario. It's wild how
It's over Star Wars.
it is. It's over Star Wars, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
to add to your points, 100%. It's really, in my opinion, unarguably the number 1 franchise of all time.
If you've never collected video games before and, you know, you're watching, you know, the Comics and Crypto podcast, and this is your first exposure to this stuff, and if it's something that you're interested in, you know, buying, etc., Pokemon is, you can't go wrong.
And this game is estimated to sell between $5,000 to $10,000. Coming in number 3, Game Boy console Tetris VGA 85 plus. Gold, gold, gold.
this gold console to me, this was it for me as a child. I remember opening this as a kid, played the Tetris. I remember having this box on crisp. I can imagine it.
If you're not familiar with the story of Tetris and how a Russian game came to be on a Japanese console, highly recommend you listening to that story. It's a really, really cool story. You know, when you look at the history of video games and consoles, the Game Boy is a major stepping stone. It revolutionized the handheld gaming systems. Look at where that went. All of the Game Boy iterations, the Game Boy Advances. Everybody knows Game Boy. Even if you weren't a video gamer or big time video game player, you probably did have a Game Boy and you probably did play it.
It's amazing how this Game Boy system set a foundation for future generations, right? Seeing where we're at then and where we've gone in just a short amount of years. It really seems impossible to me that a game in this high condition is still available, sealed. Like,
Oh yeah.
it continues to blow my mind about these games. Like comic books, you can buy a comic book and you can enjoy it, you can read it, but if you put it up in you're in a safe place, you can still retain a high grade, right? But video games, you buy them to open them. You don't buy them to hold on to them. And something like this, again, another museum piece, is still sealed in its original packaging.
Do you know what this originally would have sold for, Jason?
I think $19.99 when they first came out.
This console is estimated to sell for a very deserving $10,000 to $20,000. Very excited to see where it ends up.
Yeah, as am I.
Probably on the higher end of that. I'd be shocked if it's not on the higher end of that.
Coming at number 2, Tengen Tetris VGA 85 Plus. Is it safe to presume that this is the original Tetris game?
Yeah, that is the original unlicensed version. So that's a really, really good one to have in your collection. The Tengen unlicensed versions of games are desirable. They're also collectible. And that one is in amazing condition. Just to reiterate, if you haven't heard the Tetris story of how that came to the US, it's a really cool story.
We do get into that in our auction descriptions. You can go to our website at HAKE'S.com, check out this here is lot number 881. So go check that out there. It explains all that right there.
Before we end today's video, I want to make sure everyone knows that we are collaborating on a giveaway.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
There it is. So make sure to follow us on Twitter and also Instagram. And we're very excited to give this away to a lucky winner. Coming at number 1, Super Mario 64 VGA 85. And to my knowledge, is this the highest selling game in history to date?
It is. This is one of those games. Yes.
Nintendo 64 really made a leap. Like, I remember when Super Mario first came out, you played in the arcade, and then the next one was, Super Mario 2. You're like, wow, how could they do this? Nintendo 64 really made a big leap, gave it more of that 3D kind of feel, and it increased the popularity. I think the audience for Nintendo 64 grew substantially as well. The Game Boy and the Nintendo 64 and the PlayStation 1, I feel like were the big entry points into what modern video gaming is as far as drawing folks in.
Massive IP, massive popularity, and one of the first of its kind. I mean, this game, in my opinion, probably has a very safe floor with big upside.
Yeah, big time. Because the all-time high is so high, price that this ends at, although it's going to be a high price tag, I personally think whoever wins this item is going to get a good deal on it. And I know that sounds weird to say when you're talking about a game that's, 5 figures or more.
We did we did cover a couple other video games in our previous podcast. Some of the cover pieces we went over the top 10 items in that podcast.
You can check it out on our YouTube channel and also our Spotify, Amazon, or Apple Podcasts. So you can refer to that, to the games for the previous episode through there. And this one, and there's a lot of really cool things up on auction right now. And the auction is currently happening right now, and everything will end on November
16th. November 15th through 16th, the auction ends in 2 halves. All the video games I think we talked about today, and November 16th, 9 p.m. Eastern. Get your bids in before that because it's going to get crazy.
We'll make sure to include all of these links in the details down below. Make sure to follow HAKE'S Auctions on Twitter and Instagram at HAKE'S Auctions, and also, of course, Above Crypto. Thank you so much for joining, everybody, and we will see you on the next one.
See you guys.
Bye, all.